Hello, this is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome to a special Top 10 on Saturday, which I'm filming. And this is going to be a list of 10 of my personal favorite heavy metal songs. Now, this means that it could be, but it doesn't mean it has to be done by death metal, black metal, or heavy metal bands, as long as it is a heavy metal style song. So it can be done by regular metal, even by like a hard rock band. Because there are those occasional hard rock bands that will do like a heavy metal style song. So, just keep that in mind. And in the future I'll probably end up doing a second, like another top 10, like favorite heavy metal songs. So keep that in mind, because it's hard to do them all in one list. But these are just some of my personal favorites. And even though they're ranked, it doesn't mean they're necessarily in absolute overall order with me. Now, with that said, coming in at number 10 is a song which I'm trying to remember. I believe it originally came out like 2011, 2012 time frame. And the song is called No Gods, No Masters. And it's done by the death metal band Arch Enemy, which is, of course, known for their lead female vocalist, though. This is from a previous album from like 2011 time frame, 2012, which was called Chaos Legion. And it's a really good album overall, and it's a great song, No Gods, No Masters. There are a couple other songs on the album that are also really good. But for this list, this is the song that stood out for me more on the first list of favorite heavy metal songs is No Gods, No Masters, which is done by, sang or performed by their previous lead female vocalist. They have a different female vocalist now. Not bad, but it's still like the original more than the current. But it just depends on the person, really. Coming at number 9 is a song, and is actually one of the only songs I like by this particular metal band. This band is considered a cross between thrash metal and also another genre or sub-genre they call metalcore. And this song is definitely a cross between the two. I would call it like heavy thrash, but it's not technically a subgenre, so yeah. The song is called Sacrificial, and it's by the well-known band, of course, Slipknot. Now, for me personally, as I said, this is one of the only songs I actually like from the band. I personally may like maybe 5 songs or so from the actual band Slipknot. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I do appreciate some of their songs, and this being the top song that stands out to me, which was released in, I believe, 2010, if I remember correctly. Great song. Interesting music video, I will say that much. But definitely it is good for the most part, and I really wish that Slipknot would do more songs like Sacrificial, because that's one of their only songs that ever really appealed to me. But I know they have like an insanely large fan base. But it's just not my cup of tea. Coming in at number 8 is hands down one of my absolute favorite songs from this particular metal band. Now, this song is off this band's third album, which was like 2005 or so. It's the song 10,000 Fists by, of course, the band Disturbed. And easily, if anybody asks me like top 5, top 10 favorite metal bands of all time, easily Disturbed's in my top. Actually, they may even be in my top 5 favorite metal bands, but this is one of their songs that really spoke out to me, because 10,000 Fists was the very first metal album I actually ever owned of Disturbed. So, and this was this was the second song I heard off this album. The first one I heard was their cover, of course, of the Genesis song called Land of Confusion, which is a good song, but it wouldn't be considered heavy metal. And this list is strictly for what you consider more towards heavy metal and stuff. And 10,000 Fists is definitely one of their harder songs overall. And it's a really well done song. And probably in my top, easily in my top few favorites from the band, but their hard songs, pretty much my favorite from Disturbed. Coming in at number 7 is from an album released, I believe, in 2001, somewhere around that, and it was, I believe, the second studio album from the well-known death metal band or artist, of course, very well known as OTEP. And this is off her 2001 album, and this song is called My Confession. Definitely a cryptic, very creepy-esque song indeed. And when you hear like those, some people would say scream, yeah, there is screaming, but a lot of it's more like roars from her. I mean, back in these days, back in the early days of OTEP, man, her power and stuff, yeah, the first few times I listened to OTEP, I was actually creeped out, and I stayed away for a while, because in that early 2000s time frame, I wasn't the biggest metal fan. I was listening to only a few mainstream metal bands. This was actually probably the first death metal band I ever listened to was OTEP. And of course, also obviously being the first female metal artist I ever listened to was OTEP. And I mean, for the most part, I don't like a lot of her more recent albums, except for her newest album called Generation Doom, which is really good. But My Confession is definitely a song that stands out to me from OTEP. Coming in at number 6, this is from the well-known metalcore band called Killswitch Engage. And this song is definitely one of their best well-known songs, predominantly because for about a period of like 4 or 5 years, it was the opening, the theme music for the pretty well-known former professional wrestler Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. And obvious now what this song is. It is called This Fire. And This Fire is a really good, well-done heavy metal song, and a really good also metalcore song. And I'm not the biggest fan of metalcore music, but This Fire happens to be one of those metalcore songs I really like and enjoy. And I like the message behind also the song. That's the thing. It's got a very strong message, and which is in a lot of Killswitch Engage songs, but this was the very first Killswitch Engage song I ever heard. And, by the way, I heard this song like a year before CM Punk debuted in wrestling. So, no one can say I like it just because of CM Punk, as anybody knows me knows he's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. But, This Fire, really well done, really good metal song. Coming in at number 5 is from another band I don't overwhelmingly like. I like some music from their first 3 albums. And this is the band called, of course, Five Finger Death Punch. And this is actually the very first song I ever heard from Five Finger Death Punch, coming in at number 5. And that is the song called The Bleeding, from Way of the Fist, their debut album. And The Bleeding is an incredibly well done heavy metal song. That's all I can put about it. It's just such a good, hard-hitting song and really enjoyable. I mean, seriously. And I'm not the biggest fan of the more recent last 2 albums from Five Finger Death Punch. I felt kind of gone downhill. I felt after American Capitalist they started going down. But this is an incredible song and an incredible debut album. So thank you, Five Finger Death Punch, for the song The Bleeding. And yeah, I limited this list to no more than 1 song per artist on the actual top 10. Just to be fair, even though it's my own personal picks, I still want to give each artist a fair and not be overwhelming for one particular band over another. Coming in at number 4 is from the Christian heavy metal band called Demon Hunter. And this is an incredible song off, I believe it was their 5th studio album called The World is a Thorn, if I remember correctly, was the name of their 5th studio album. And this is an incredibly well done song and such a great build up over like a period of like between a minute and a half and 2 minutes long build up. The song stretches for a period of like 7.5 minutes. Really good, well done song. And it outshines a lot of normal mainstream metal bands. And the song is called Descending Upon Us. Very well executed, very well sung song, and you can definitely hear the passion from this band, definitely with this particular song. Coming in at number 3 is the really well-known, definitely of the ones on this top 10 list, is definitely the hands down the best well-known song easily on this list. And is from, of course, the hugely well-known metal band Metallica, which is, of course, one of the big four. And I know I hear a lot of people when I mention the big four and stuff, and they're like, what's the big four? And that is basically the ones who created the genre known as thrash metal, of course, which is Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer. Anybody who knows me knows, not the biggest Slayer fan, not really a big Anthrax fan. Love Megadeth, and I also enjoy older Metallica. And, of course, no surprise this would be in the top 3, and that is the most, easily, probably their most famous song off their Black album, which is, of course, Enter Sandman. And I dare you go out there, if you ask anyone even has heard any metal music at all, or even maybe more of a rock fan or whatever, and doesn't really listen to metal, I dare you find someone who has never heard of the song Enter Sandman. Nor never heard of freaking Metallica, because let's face it, Metallica is a brand, they are just a juggernaut. Because really, it's thanks to bands like Metallica is why metal was able to survive the 1980s. Because of glam rock and hair metal, as they call it, though it's not really metal. Coming in at number 2 is off of this band's particular newest album, which was released in 2014. And this is from pretty much my favorite thrash metal band of all time. And that is Iced Earth. And this is the first single off their last album in 2014 called Plagues of Babylon. And Plagues of Babylon is an incredible album. And the song itself is insanely good. I mean, the build-up is insane. Same thing goes for Enter Sandman. Descending Upon Us, Enter Sandman, Plagues of Babylon all have a great build-up to the song. And it really does showcase the more recent, of course, lead vocalist now for 2 albums with Iced Earth, that being Stu Block, which has a really great voice for metal music. Here's some honorable mentions first before number 1. 2 songs from Disturbed honorable mentions: The Game, The Vengeful One, from Iced Earth, Burnt Offerings, from Amon Amarth, Deceiver of the Gods, from Red, Release the Panic, from the thrash metal German band Primal Fear and their song Final Embrace, from Demon Hunter, Life War, and Follow the Wolves, and last but not least of honorable mentions, Temptation by Cradle of Filth. Coming in at number 1, from the hugely amazing Viking/death metal band Amon Amarth comes in at number 1 with their amazing, insanely good song called Twilight of the Thunder God. And of course, anybody that knows anything about Amon Amarth knows all their songs revolve around Scandinavian lore or Scandinavian mythology. Most of their songs will always revolve, and obviously what Twilight of the Thunder God is about, it's obviously about Thor, since he's the Thunder God. And most of their music revolves around Thor, Odin, Loki, all of the ancient gods and stuff of Norwegian mythology. Which, of course, is awesome. They even did recently, their newest album, which was released like a couple weeks ago, was a awesome concept album. And if you've never heard anything from Amon Amarth, you seriously should check them out. Trust me, you will not be disappointed, and especially not in their song Twilight of the Thunder God. And of course, the incredible honorable mention, I said also, Deceiver of the Gods, which is another incredible song. And they've done incredible 10 albums, 21 years in going as a band, and staying strong. You can't say that about a lot of metal bands, but this is my top 10 favorite metal songs list. And as it's in the future, I may work on a second one. So, stay tuned for that. And, of course, as I already mentioned last week, what I'm going to be doing this coming Sunday, a special top 10 list tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And also I'm planning on doing today, uploading and getting the review done for Street Fighter Unlimited issue number 5. So stay tuned for that as well. And until next time, as always, it's Goku-san DBZ. Please leave a comment, send me feedback, give me ideas. Also, I ask you to please subscribe and also share my video, thumbs it up. Follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ as well as on Google+. And of course I left a link, which I'll try to remember to put the link in again, for my Facebook group, which I recently put together, which is called Retro Games, Anime, and Comic Book Collectors. So it's basically for anybody out there who appreciates comic books, anime, and video games. So, wait, no, yeah, retro at the beginning. So yeah, it's for anybody. It's for current day stuff as well as stuff going back to like the 80s and 90s. So come join the group and stuff. I'm trying to get like-minded people together and to discuss their love of these particular things. Anyways, see you next time.